Welcome to the Thursday posting of the Court of Public Opinion. Thank you for joining us in the garage. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux, and the Court of Public Opinion is here for you today and live streaming tomorrow from around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us, 9 o'clock. Now, this might sound like useless information, but it's important, very important. If you want to avoid cancer and live a long, healthy life, you know, I'm talking 250 years, move very slowly, very, very slowly. After studying the Galapagos Island turtles for many years, they still don't know why, but these turtles are the only living creatures on the planet who never seem to get cancer. Diet, environment, genes, no one knows. Having a nice big shell might help. Crack that one, not the shell of course, but the mystery, and you are a certainty for a Nobel Prize. It's there sitting, waiting for somebody. It's time we had a hard, long look at class actions. You know what I mean by a class action? A legal class action. You see these no-win, no-fee legal firms spruiking for business all the time. This latest example is legal, but pretty disgraceful. Thousands of Aboriginal stockmen and women, cooks, general hands, jackaroos and jillaroos and all that sort of thing, were employed by outback stations for many, many years here in Australia. These people, the Aboriginals, were underpaid, but apparently agreed to those terms. There is something rather patronising about all of this in a way. You'll see what I mean as I tell you the story. Aboriginal people can't handle or understand a simple job offer. There is no doubt that they were being taken advantage of, ripped off, but apparently didn't notice until Shine lawyers told them, whoa, and organised a class action. It seems they didn't understand that class action either. Shine with, here's a new phrase for me, I didn't know that this sort of category of enterprise even existed. Litigation funders. Litigation funders. Shine and litigation funders embarked on a class action involving thousands of these underpaid workers. No win, no fee. Sounds pretty good, huh? What could possibly go wrong? These litigation funders in themselves are most interesting. They take the risk. They fund the case. And I guarantee that the lawyers will get paid. And in return, they get a 250, it's a bit much, 250% guaranteed return on their investment. Worth the risk, I would say. 250%. Now, Four Corners took a good look at all of this last Monday. You may have seen it. The case was long and expensive. Shine lawyers won. The Aboriginals involved should have been delighted, but seems not. While the settlement involved hundreds of millions of dollars, the complainants received between $6,000 and $8,000 each. The lawyers and the funders walked away with $100 million. The complaint seems to be that the Aboriginals who signed off on all of this can't read or write. But hang on. Wait right there. The Aboriginals had legal representation. You didn't know what you were agreeing to. You were surrounded by high-priced lawyers. Your lawyers working for you. Wow. Do I sense another class action opportunity here? I'm not a lawyer. No. Look, something has got to be done. A few weeks back on the Friday show, one of the guests was former state DPP and former judge as well, Stephen Pilaris, who was talking about justice being too expensive and too inaccessible and too hard to understand, too complicated. He's standing for the upper house here in South Australia and will try to do something about all of this, particularly the cost of justice. And we here in the Court of Public Opinion will do what we can to help him, believe me. I think that's a very worthy cause. The Prime Minister the other day pledged himself to lowering the cost of living. Wow, really? While at the same time driving up the cost of living with his renewables crap. Such lies and deception are amazing. Government spending is up this year, $160 billion. All on the never-never, stealing from the generations to come. Labor have done this for years. Wasteful and stupid since 1972. And they've almost sent the country broke several times. Think of Kemlani. Do you remember the Kemlani affair? What are we going to do about this, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, we're going backwards. We're going backwards under Labor. 27% of Australia's GDP being spent, wasted under Labor. Aboriginals, and not the people, of course, but the advisors in the industry and the lawsuits and all of that. The NDIS, foreign aid, LGBTIQ, all the lefty crap in the world. Business is on its knees. And they don't understand. More businesses have gone bankrupt in the last 3 years than in the entire history of Australia. I had to read that several times before I even comprehended it. That is terrible. 3 years of Labor. Look at it. There was a big pay deal announced for doctors the other day, averting a strike. Doctors in my world don't go on strike for more money. Doctors aren't in it for the money. Don't tell me that. They might strike over moral or staffing or health issues. If they went on strike over ramping, that could be okay, that could be fine. Fine by me. Perhaps I should maybe just take off my rose-coloured glasses. Maybe. Let's not gild the lily. The inflation figures that just came out recently were good. But let's look deeper. It should not be our total economic focus. It's obviously an important one, but not the only one. But keep your eye on the big picture. These are the best quarterly figures for the inflation in this country for the past nearly 4 years. 2.1%. Now we've got to go back to the pandemic era, when the economy was on its knees. The government was panicking, pumping in billions to keep things going. Interest rates cut to less than 1%. 0.1%, do you remember? Which is code for we're stuffed. To hear Labor saying last Wednesday, our economic strategy is working. It's amazing. You want us back on our knees? Well, I think we're there. Record bankruptcies. Interest rates will be cut this month. This is not a sign of a healthy economy, it's a sign of a sick economy. And the Labor government claims this is a victory. Well, you can have it. It's yours, you own it. The CPI continues to rise regardless. It's just that, look, after paying the electricity bills, there is no money to spend on anything else. That is why inflation is down. What else can we talk about? The federal police say that we're breaking all records. Didn't know we had records in these sort of areas, but apparently we do. We're breaking all records for forced marriages. 1 every 4 days, ladies and gentlemen, according to the federal police. Modern slavery, which ain't too different from old-fashioned slavery, and human trafficking. I fear yet another example of why multiculturalism just doesn't work. Now, this is interesting. We all live in a municipality somewhere, and I saw this, thought it worth bringing up. North Sydney Council. North Sydney is one of the richest municipalities in Australia. It is cash-strapped. Has been for some time, they explain. The journalist doing the interview didn't ask, why? They never asked, why? With the rates and the taxes that people in that municipality pay, how? Wow! What to do? You know what they've done? They're going to charge people, coming up to Christmas, they're going to charge people $50 for viewing the Sydney Harbour New Year's Eve fireworks display. Blues Point, one of the, if not the best vantage point on the harbour, Council is going to charge people to watch the fireworks. Okay, I don't know how much money they're going to make out of that. And they're going to charge tax. They're going to apply tax to schools. Because schools are a lot of land. You know, there are playing fields and tennis courts and building. A lot of land. You can just see the cash register working in their eyes. Lots of tax on schools. You see, North Sydney is home for most of the prestigious private schools in Australia, who will of course have to pass on the extra cost to the already beleaguered parents. I don't know what they're going to say about it. Look, I got a better idea. Fellas, just sack the council. Put in an administrator. When people stuff things up, get rid of them. The whole thing about local government, local councils, is that they are riddled with inefficiency, waste, incompetence and duplication. And that is not just North Sydney. Not just North Sydney. I got a call the other day. It was a call centre. Not unusual, but this one was. It was a call centre spruiking for business, asking if I was interested in their service, which happened to be AI, artificial intelligence. And yes, the voice I was speaking to was AI. It was. We can provide you with all your communication requirements. This is probably because I have a little company called Word of Mouth, the best advertising in the world. It's an advertising consulting company. That's probably where they latched onto me. But they could supply all my communication requirements. Nice voice, I thought. Answered all my questions promptly, quickly. She spoke perfect English. But not a person. A machine. You couldn't pick it. You couldn't. I said, you have a very sexy voice. Didn't faze her, not one bit. Why, thank you, sir, she said. Then I thought, how far can I go with this? Now, I was going to suggest that we could get together and talk it over, enjoying a drink together. Then I thought better of that. No, don't do that. I thought better of it. So I explained, quite honestly, look, I said, I'm involved in radio and broadcasting, and the thought that I could be replaced with AI was a little disconcerting, but quite obvious. Therefore, thank you, but no thank you. I tried to explain to her that turkeys don't vote for Christmas. By the way, keep your eye open for a thing called agentic AI. Agent Tech, Agent Tech, Agent Tech, I think that's how it's said, Agent Tech AI. AI servants, sort of like a PA, a personal assistant. AI servants who will do anything and everything for you. It sounds interesting. I have no idea what it's going to cost or where any of this is going to go in the long term, but gee whiz. We're here for the Rising Sun, 60 Bridge Street at Kensington. You can call them on 8333 0721. Jackie will be with me tomorrow around the dining room table having a chat about the big year that this is, because they were built, the Rising Sun was built in 1845. And here we are in where are we, Pete? 2025. That's where we are. It's a big year, but they'll celebrate it in a very big way. The Rising Sun, regularly chosen as the best pub or inn in South Australia. Lots of atmosphere, and there's still a fair amount of cold out there, so if you're looking for several nice open fires and warm leather Chesterfields and all of that, they're the place. And also don't forget Jim Elder and his lovely wife Helen. Their second auction for the year is coming up, but the catalogue is still open. If you're looking to sell a painting, if you look, you might not know what it's worth, you mightn't even like the painting, but the point is it could be worth a great deal of money. We've all heard those stories about paintings that have been hauled out of attics and cellars and things and have reached hundreds of thousands of dollars in international value. Well, Jim can do all that for you. Talk to him. Jim Elder, Elder Fine Art Gallery, Melbourne Street, North Adelaide. Now, tomorrow you can join us on 0491 65 68 60, jeremycordeaux.com. You can get the app too, which is it's on Simple Radio. It's called Simple Radio. And there you will have me in the palm of your hand, as if you don't already. The Australian, if I've got the time, the Australian has cast doubt on the authenticity of that photo from Gaza. The little boy, skin and bone, a photographic attack, indictment, if you like, on the whole mess. The Australian says it might not be real. It's another AI thing, I suppose. I was thinking about it when I heard that story. It only takes just one picture to change public opinion. Like the little naked Vietnamese girl who was running down the road, napalm having burned her clothes off her body. That did more to end the Vietnam War than anything else. So potent. The photo of the student standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square, refusing. He put down his shopping bags. You remember the photo? That photo, the power of just one picture. Can you think of any others? Call me tomorrow and let me know. The first, one very memorable picture I have in my mind was the first picture taken of Earth from space. No one had ever seen us from that perspective before. The problem these days, of course, is that, I don't know, as the Australian is suggesting, photos can be fake. You can do anything, absolutely anything. I don't know if we should wrap it up or I should... One more.
One more.
Do you want the good news? I love this story. I love this story if I can fit it in. The CSIRO and the UN have both released a statement on the same day. Wow, what a coincidence. A report saying that renewables are the cheapest way to generate electricity. Well, if this is true, here in South Australia, the capital of renewables, we should see this reflected in our bills. Why is electricity currently 30 to 50% more expensive than it was 3 years ago? To go from the world's cheapest electricity to the most expensive in 3 years requires some explanation. The truth is that if you strip away the government incentives and the one-off bonuses and the batteries, etc., the cost of renewables is enormous. Why the lies? Just tell the truth. We only produce 1%. It makes no difference. 1% of emissions. And these people would have us believe that just 12 hours after Pauline Hanson and Barnaby Joyce announced their private members build a scrap net zero, these reports came out of the blue from CSIRO and the UN. What a coincidence. Would you trust a thing that the UN said about anything? You wouldn't hear it on the ABC. But did anyone get an opposing opinion? An opposing view on any of this? Yet most media types seem to want to go along with this discredited narrative. I say discredited because every bill I get, I'm reminded that it's not just electricity, it's everything, the cost of everything. The great advantage Australia had was cheap electricity, cheap energy. This advantage has been stolen by Labor, and for no good reason. And when I debate with people this argument about we are just 1% of global emissions, you know what I get? We have to set an example to the world. Why? It's the Lima Declaration all over again, and look at the damage that did. I would love to get this Paul Graham, chief energy economist and lead author of this report, on the Friday show, and I will try to do that. But in the meantime, I'll wish you a happy birthday and tell you who you're celebrating the day with. It is August the 7th. Do I get the feeling the year is just flying past? It's disappearing while we watch. Greg Chappell, happy birthday. Greg Chappell, Australian cricket batsman, captain, 87 tests. Born in Adelaide in 1948. Mata Hari, Dutch exotic dancer. But that's not all. Courtesan, convicted German World War I spy. Born in the Netherlands, died 1917. I think she was executed. I think they shot her. I think they did. 1876. The exotic dancing and the courtesan and spying business is obviously fairly tricky. Nancy Wake, speaking of spies, we talked to her a few times. The White Rabbit, I think they call her the White Rabbit. Nancy Wake, the New Zealand-born World War II secret agent, special operations executive, dies at 98. The year was 2011. Marvellous lady. Possible first performance of Shakespeare's tragedy Macbeth takes place in Hampton Court Palace for King James I, 1606. Oh, here's one to make your eyes water. 1970. 19 kittens. World record for domestic cat litter. It's no laughing matter, is it, really? Born to 4-year-old Burmese cat Tarawood Antigone in Oxfordshire. It's a hell of a name for a cat, isn't it? Tarawood Antigone. Anyway, can you imagine that? Can you imagine being the mother of 19 kittens? How would you feed them? It's a whole lot of bottoms to lick. It must be awful. Oh, poor creature. Francis Drake's fleet returns to Plymouth after a year spent raiding for Spanish treasure, 1576. They did that quite openly back in those days. It was quite well thought of. Diamond workers in Amsterdam go on strike, 1900. First American offensive in the Pacific War, World War II, Guadalcanal, the Solomon Islands. That was a terrible, because it was this island hopping that they did in the South Pacific, trying to take one island at a time, working their way back to Japan. That was in 1942. Oliver Hardy, American comedian, dies at 65. 1957 was the year. Thank you so much for being with us. If it's a birthday or a day of celebration for you, I hope it's going to be a really happy one. And I look forward to your company tomorrow. Meantime, back in the garage, our Facebook posting and subsequent podcasts, Tuesday morning, and Wednesday morning next week. See you tomorrow in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing.